Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, AGNDD and Tell I report topic. U.S. says it will strike deeper into Iran as war spreads across region. Please pardon any visual and informational inaccuracies in this partially AI-generated article-based video. U.S. says it will strike deeper into Iran as war spreads across region. A U.S. submarine torpedoed an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean. Turkey says NATO shot down an Iranian missile that was traveling toward its airspace. CNN, updated 4:07 p.m. EST, Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. Here's the latest. U.S. to strike deeper into Iran. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said the U.S. will start striking progressively deeper into Iran, and U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth cautioned Americans that it's very early in military operations against Tehran. Widening conflict. Israel is launching a new wave of strikes across Tehran, the Israeli military said Wednesday. Earlier, Hegseth said a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean. Death toll rises. The White House didn't rule out that a strike on a girls' elementary school in southern Iran was carried out by U.S. military personnel, but insisted that the U.S. does not target civilians. More than 1,000 people have been killed in Iran since the war began, according to U.S.-based human rights activists news agency. 10 hours, 56 minutes ago. Unacceptable that Americans are stranded in the Middle East, Buttigieg says, by CNN staff. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg tells Caitlin Collins it makes no sense the Trump administration didn't have a plan to evacuate American citizens following the attacks on Iran. 10 hours, 56 minutes ago, GOP leaders refused to call U.S. military action in Iran a war, by CNN staff. House Speaker Mike Johnson and other GOP lawmakers refused to call the U.S. military action in Iran a war when pressed by CNN's Manu Raju. 7 hours 43 minutes ago, the U.S. and Israel are aiming to destroy Iran's leadership and military. Here's the latest, by Jesse Young. U.S. President Donald Trump said strikes targeted another set of Iranian leaders. A source told CNN Israel struck a compound belonging to a group responsible for electing Iran's next supreme leader, though Iranian state media has said that the building was evacuated before the attack. Trump also said Iran's Air Force and Navy had been knocked out, and the U.S. military said it destroyed 17 Iranian ships and nearly 2,000 targets. The war, which Trump has warned could last over a month, with the big wave yet to come, has disrupted global travel, stranded foreign nationals, and spiked global commodity prices. 7 hours 43 minutes ago, 4 U.S. troops killed in war with Iran identified, by CNN staff. The Pentagon has identified 4 of the 6 U.S. service members who were killed in an Iranian drone strike on Sunday. Sergeant Declan Cody, Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore, Sergeant First Class Noah Tietjens. 8 hours 15 minutes ago. Could China benefit most from Trump's call to protect the Strait of Hormuz? Analysis by Christy Lou Stout. As the conflict with Iran widens, global shipping costs are surging. Supertanker costs in the Middle East have reached record highs, prompting both the U.S. and China to call for the safeguarding of vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. The narrow channel off the coast of Iran carries 20% of global oil consumption and massive quantities of liquefied natural gas, LNG. Iran has vowed to attack any ship that tries to pass through the strait. Vessels in the area have also been hit by strikes. Shipping through the strait has almost completely stopped. Ship tracking data from the Marine Traffic Platform reveals a virtually empty Strait of Hormuz. Fears of a prolonged closure have caused oil and natural gas prices to jump, and world powers want to stabilize the markets. On Tuesday, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Mao Ning said, China urges all parties to stop the military operations at once, avoid further escalation, keep the shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz safe, and prevent further impact on the global economy. U.S. President Donald Trump went further, offering shipping insurance and guarantees. Trump also said the U.S. Navy would escort oil tankers in the Gulf if needed. The details are unclear, but China may have the most to gain. China is the world's largest importer of crude and the world's biggest buyer of Iranian oil. It's a point not lost on Trump's political foes. On his X account, Democratic lawmaker Joaquin Castro points out, "This certainly looks like the United States will be subsidizing and protecting oil shipments to China." And it's not just China. Asia sources a whopping 60% of its oil from the Middle East. China and Japan are also the world's largest importers of LNG. 10 hours, 35 minutes ago, here's how governments are trying to evacuate citizens from the Middle East, by Ria Mogul. Despite regional travel being paralyzed, foreign nationals have been urged to leave the Middle East. Several countries are now working to evacuate stranded nationals. U.S. The U.S. is working to assist Americans who want to leave the Middle East, including over 1,500 that asked for help, with a push to secure military aircraft and charter flights. Americans in Israel have very limited options to leave the country, said U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee, warning that the U.S. Embassy was not in a position to assist. U.S. President Donald Trump said there had been no evacuation plan for Americans in the Middle East before they launched the strikes. UAE. The United Arab Emirates said it had opened safe air corridors with its neighbors to facilitate the return of its citizens and help visitors leave. Europe. Several European nations have begun evacuating their citizens. British Foreign Minister said the UK is working with airlines to boost evacuations, while France arranged 2 flights on Tuesday. Italy and the Czech Republic have also begun arranging flights out of the region. 9 hours 50 minutes ago, photo geolocated by CNN shows plume of smoke near Esfahan, by Teal Rabane. A photo geolocated by CNN shows a large plume of dark smoke near the Iranian city of Esfahan. Hours before, the Israeli military said it had launched what it described as a new, broad wave of strikes against Iran, targeting launch sites, aerial defense systems, and other infrastructure. The photo has not appeared online before Wednesday morning. Iranian state media reported explosions in several parts of the country Wednesday morning, including west of the capital Tehran. 9 hours 33 minutes ago, U.S. military bases across country ordered to step up security, by Hannah Park. U.S. Northern Command, which oversees the defense of North America, has ordered military installations to put in place 11 additional force protection measures to strengthen security, the command said. The additional measures were ordered based on world events to enhance vigilance and protect personnel and installations, the command said in a statement to CNN. The added steps set a minimum level of security across installations, though local commanders can impose steps to increase security, a spokesperson told CNN. 6 U.S. service members have been killed, 4 of whom have been identified since the conflict began over the weekend after U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. 10 hours 13 minutes ago. Why isn't Beijing doing more about the U.S. taking out 2 China allies? Analysis by John Liu and Simone McCarthy. In quick succession, U.S. President Donald Trump has taken out 2 of Beijing's closest allies, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The former is now in shackles in a New York detention facility after being snatched from Caracas by U.S. Special Forces in an extraordinary overnight raid. The latter was killed in a daring daylight bomb drop in the center of Tehran in a joint U.S. mission with Israel. In the aftermath, China has responded with anger, condemning the capture or killing of a sovereign leader and the apparent U.S. attempt at regime change while reaching out to Iran express its friendship. But China has done little more than look on as its geopolitical rival shakes up the rules of engagement. For Chinese leader Xi Jinping, it comes down to hard-nosed pragmatism and other higher priorities, including the stability of U.S.-China relations. 5 hours 8 minutes ago, Israel is bombarding Iran and Lebanon as Tehran continues retaliation, by Catherine Nichols. It is now the fifth day of conflict in the Middle East, and Israel is continuing to bombard both Iran and Lebanon, with more than 1,000 civilians reported to have been killed in the Islamic Republic since Saturday. Tehran is also continuing its strikes on its neighbors, having launched drones and missiles towards several Gulf countries in retaliation for the U.S. and Israel's attacks. Catch up on the very latest here. 4 of the 6 U.S. service members who were killed in an Iranian strike on a Kuwaiti port on Sunday have been identified. At least 5 people have been killed by an Israeli strike on a 4-story residential building in the Lebanese city of Baalbek this morning. According to Lebanese state media, Israel has said that it hit command centers of Iran's domestic security apparatus in strikes on Tehran overnight. Smoke has been seen near Beirut's international airport this morning, as well as near the Iranian city of Esfahan. The U.S. State Department has ordered non-emergency U.S. staff in the cities of Lahore and Karachi to leave Pakistan due to safety risks. Israel has warned that any new leader appointed by Iran's ruling clerics would be an unequivocal target for elimination. Iran's foreign minister has accused U.S. President Donald Trump of bombing his country out of spite. France has deployed Rafale fighter jets over the skies of the United Arab Emirates to protect its military bases there, its foreign minister has said. China's foreign minister has told his Israeli counterpart that he is calling for an end to Israel's military action on Iran, according to a statement from China's foreign ministry. CNN's Helen Regan, Haley Britsky, Taylor Romine, Hannah Park, Eugenia Yosef, Teal Rebane, Rhea Mogul, Jesse Young, Jerome Taylor, Tim Lister, and Sophie Tano contributed to this reporting. 5 hours 1 minute ago, Israel says residents of southern Lebanon should evacuate amid operations against Hezbollah, by Tim Lister and Charbel Malo. The Israeli military advised residents of southern Lebanon to evacuate on Wednesday as it expands its operations against Hezbollah. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, said residents should move to the area north of Litani River, which runs 20 to 30 kilometers, 12 to 20 miles, north of the Israeli border. Anyone located near Hezbollah operatives, facilities, or weapon is putting their life at risk, the IDF said on X. There was a further Israeli airstrike on southern Beirut early Wednesday, and an Israeli strike on a 4-story building killed at least 4 people and wounded 6 others in the eastern Lebanese city of Baalbek, according to state news agency NNA. Israel launched airstrikes and a limited ground incursion on Monday after Hezbollah fired rockets and missiles across the border in support of Iran. Lebanese Foreign Minister Youssef Raghi repeated Wednesday the government's determination to proceed with the decision to restrict weapons in the country, essentially demanding that Hezbollah disarms. Less than 1 minute ago, Kurdish forces need guarantees to work with CIA on fomenting uprising in Iran, expert says, by Tala al-Rajal. Kurdish forces would need serious commitment and guarantees from the U.S. if they are to work with the CIA on fomenting a popular uprising in Iran, an expert has told CNN. Reacting to CNN reporting that the U.S. was in discussions with Iranian opposition groups and Kurdish leaders in Iraq about providing them with military support, Yerevan Saeed told CNN's Becky Anderson the groups would need a tangible commitment from the Trump administration. Unless there will be serious commitment and guarantees, I don't see how the Kurdish political parties or opposition groups are going to commit, said Saeed, director of the Global Kurdish Initiative for Peace at American University. The Kurdish-American relationship unfortunately has been good, but also it has seen a lot of setbacks, he added, pointing to the recent decision by Washington to back the new Syrian government in its military campaign to push Kurdish-led SDF forces out of the northeast of the country. U.S. envoy Tom Barrack said at the time the U.S.-Kurdish alliance there had largely expired. Less than 1 minute ago, White House says U.S. has more than enough weapons to wage extended war with Iran, by Adam Cankren. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the U.S. has more than enough weapons to wage an extended war with Iran, despite President Donald Trump's earlier indications that supplies were not as extensive as he preferred. The United States of America has more than enough capability to not only successfully execute Operation Epic Fury, but to go much further, she said, during today's press briefing. And we have weapon stockpiles in places that many in this world don't even know about. Trump had earlier complained about the U.S.'s weapons stocks, writing in a Truth Social post on Monday that we have a good supply but are not where we want to be. Defense company executives are slated to meet at the White House on Friday amid a push to accelerate their production. But Leavitt said Trump was referencing the Biden administration's decision to send U.S. weapons to Ukraine for free to aid their war with Russia, rather than signaling any current supply concerns. The president was pointing out that, unfortunately, we had a very stupid and incompetent leader in this White House for 4 years who gave away many of our best weapons for nothing, she said. Less than 1 minute ago, White House claims Spain is cooperating on Iran, which Spain denies, by Betsy Klein. The White House suggested Wednesday that Spain has agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military's mission against Iran after President Donald Trump on Tuesday lashed out at the country and threatened a trade embargo. But Spain is denying that account. With respect to Spain, I think they heard the president's message yesterday loud and clear, and it's my understanding over the past several hours they've agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, when pressed on how a potential embargo would comport with Spain's membership in the European Union. Spanish Foreign Minister José Manuel Álvarez, in a local radio interview, denied Leavitt's account. "Our position has not changed," Álvarez said. CNN has reached out to the White House and to Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez's government. Sánchez has emerged as Europe's most vocal critic of Trump, refusing to involve Spain in the war at all, even after Trump's trade threats. "We're not going to be complicit in something that's bad for the world, nor contrary to our values and interests simply to avoid reprisals from someone," Sánchez said in a televised address on Wednesday, according to Reuters. Leavitt said Wednesday that the U.S. military is coordinating with their counterparts in Spain, and that Trump expects all Europe, all of our European allies, of course, to cooperate, saying that the Iranian regime also posed a threat to European countries. Less than 1 minute ago, Trump says U.S. attacked Iran to head off Iranian strikes on Israel and U.S. by Adam Cankren. President Donald Trump on Wednesday again said that he believes Iran would have attacked Israel and possibly the U.S. if he did not order strikes on the country first. "I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible," he said during a White House event, touting the war as an amazing thing that's taking place before your eyes. Trump's remarks represent the latest iteration of the administration's rationale for going to war, with some officials initially suggesting Israel was poised to attack Iran first, while others later asserted that it was Iran that was preparing to fire the first salvo at Israel, the U.S., or both. On Tuesday, Trump said they were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt earlier on Wednesday said Trump ordered the assault on Iran based on a good feeling that Iran was planning to target U.S. forces in the region.
Thank you for watching this AGNDD Until I Report, dear viewers. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell button to get notified during new uploads, and make sure to tune in next time. Stay safe and healthy. Cheers.